Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Movie and Horse Lover video review. This is my first time doing anything like this. I'm using Google Sheets and Active Presenter to make this video, so it's probably going to be pretty garbage. But if it's something that I decide I like, I'm going to stick with it, and hopefully they'll get better. So stay tuned, and we'll see. So without further ado, here's Godzilla vs. Kong. When I first heard about Godzilla vs. Kong, I was in my living room with my roommates, and we had an argument about who would win. It was a lighthearted type of deal, but it did actually get me interested in going to see it. What I didn't realize is that this is actually the fourth movie in the MonsterVerse, so there's supposedly a backstory for this movie, and I was kind of worried that walking into this movie might have been like going to see Endgame without seeing any of the core Marvel movies. This is not the case, not by a long shot. One of the major strengths of this movie is that it's very accommodating to new viewers. You don't actually have to know any of the backstory to enjoy the movie. However, I have seen both the original King Kong and the original Godzilla. King Kong was not at all impressive by today's standards, but back in the 30s, this shit was pretty revolutionary. On the other hand, you have Godzilla from 1954, which is actually a genuinely impressive movie and paved a way for a lot of special effects used in movies like Star Wars and even some films today. It actually had a really good plot with some strong messaging and actually likable characters. With all that in mind, I have no previous attachment to any of the characters or storylines, so if you do, you may disagree with parts of this review. Like I said, this movie is very accepting of people like me. The story makes a lot of sense for first-time viewers of the franchise, and the characters and their motives are very easy to pick up on. That second thing is not necessarily a good thing. There's a nice balance between making sure new viewers can get a feel for the characters and plain old one-dimensional characters. There's a lot of characters that have the potential to be really cool. Personally, I was really hoping to like Millie Bobby Brown's character, as well as her little crew in the movie. Unfortunately, the dialogue is abysmal. Like, really, really, really bad. It really didn't matter which actor it was. So many lines just came across as incredibly cliche, unlikely for any real person to say, or just plain dumb. It overall came across as discombobulated. So much so that after the first few minutes, I started to wonder if this movie was one of those ones where it was supposed to be jokingly bad. I don't actually have a way to get any of the clips from the movie, but just imagine each dialogue scene as a cutscene in a video game. That's pretty much exactly how it feels to watch. Rigid characters just spouting weird bullshit at each other. In fact, my favorite character throughout the entire movie was the little girl who had the soul bond with Kong. So shout out to Kaylee Hoddle, who manages to convey more emotion with her few lines in sign language than any of the other characters can display with their limitless yakking. But I didn't buy a ticket for this movie, pay $2 extra for the fancy theater for dialogue or characters. I went to go see monsters fuck each other up, and that is exactly where this movie shines. The action scenes are, of course, the best part, and likely why anyone would want to see this movie. It's clear that this is where the budget and the attention went. The director and writers chose perfect sets for the movie designed to maximize the power, intensity, and scale of the monsters and their fights. The plot, like the dialogue, was overall pretty uninspired. Again, I've got no context for these movies, but as a first-time viewer, minor plot events just seemed flat. There just wasn't any emotion to back it up. That being said, major plot events really do help contribute to that action factor, so there were some parts and reveals in the movie that were truly entertaining. Either way, watching Godzilla and King Kong effortlessly thrash each other into buildings is just plain dumb fun, especially when you're watching it in a theater. I love going to the movies, and I was so excited to finally be able to go again. That's part of the reason I like this movie so much. It's because it's the perfect thing to watch in a theater. It's no holds barred, giant screen, and booming surround sound is definitely how this movie was designed to be watched. I think that if you strip that experience away, you might be disappointed with Godzilla vs. Kong. There simply isn't enough movie to back up the action. It's just not the same watching CDs get leveled on a laptop after seeing it on the theater screen. So, without further ado, I give Godzilla vs. Kong a 3 out of 5, if you see it in theaters.